Elena Cruz had always lived by schedules. 6 a.m., wake her little brother Matty. 7 a.m., get him ready for school. 8 a.m., her first class at university. Psychology by day, rideshare driver by night. The routine gave her comfort. It gave her control. But that control began to fray one brisk night in September. Her shift had been slow. Elena's car smelled faintly of coffee and air freshener, and soft indie music played low on the stereo. When she picked up her 11:45 p.m. fare near a boutique hotel in downtown Seattle, she didn't think twice. The man was quiet, mid-30s, in a gray suit, hands fidgeting as if suppressing a tremor. He gave her an address in Capitol Hill, and the ride passed in silence. When she arrived, he opened the door, nodded curtly, and disappeared into the shadows of an upscale apartment complex. It wasn't until an hour later, parked outside a 7-Eleven, that she noticed the briefcase on her back seat. She hesitated. Her instincts said to turn it in. But curiosity, sharpened by her studies, nudged her forward. Maybe she could find an ID, contact him directly. She popped the latches open, money, neatly stacked bundles of cash, and beneath the cash, a notebook, leather-bound and worn, filled with meticulous handwriting. Lists, dates, symbols. Then names. Her fingers froze as she scanned the list. There, third from the bottom, was her own name. Elena Cruz. Elena's stomach turned. Who was this man? Why was she listed with strangers? She flipped through the notebook, searching for context. Each name had numbers beside it, notes like Session 4, Response Irregular, No Trigger, or Recovered Memory, 2003 Incident. She drove home in silence, heart pounding. Matty was asleep when she arrived. She locked the briefcase in her closet and lay awake until morning. The next day, in between lectures about cognitive dissonance and Freud, she cross-referenced the other names. Some had social media accounts. One woman was a photographer in Portland, another ran a flower shop in Tacoma. But two were missing entirely. No digital trace. Her next lead came from a sticker on the back of the notebook. Aurora Wellness Center, Bellevue. The clinic had closed years ago. Its website was defunct, but a few archived forum posts mentioned alternative therapy and experimental trauma work. Elena visited the crumbling building the following night. Graffiti covered its facade. Inside, it smelled of mildew and dust. She found old pamphlets in a drawer, pictures of serene gardens and promises of breakthrough healing. She wasn't alone. A noise, a footstep, sent her ducking behind the receptionist's desk. A flashlight beam passed near her head. Two men, speaking in hushed tones. List is compromised. She has the case. Elena held her breath. Then find her. We can't afford another mistake. They left. Her knees shook as she crawled out and ran. Elena confided in her friend Jonah, a fellow psych major who loved conspiracy theories. Together they pored over the notebook. Jonah spotted something she missed. The symbols were actually a form of shorthand used in early psychiatric research. Some entries described dream experiments. Others hinted at memory implantation. They discovered that every person on the list had attended therapy at Aurora as children, including Elena. She had no memory of this. But Matty, young as he was, started having nightmares. He talked about a man in a white coat and rooms with no windows. Elena's own memories began to shift. She'd always thought her parents died in a car crash. But a note in the notebook read, Subject 9, Cruz. Recovered memory suppressed. Parental reconditioning. Incomplete. Subject 9. Her world started to crack. She was being watched. Her car's GPS glitched. Her usual passengers were replaced by strangers asking pointed questions. Jonah was attacked outside his dorm. He survived, but barely. They're watching, he whispered. They're still running the program. The program, Elena followed the trail to a retired therapist, Dr. Lirio, who had once worked at Aurora. Now a recluse living on the outskirts of Olympia, Lirio admitted that Aurora wasn't just a wellness clinic. It had been a front for a covert experiment in trauma desensitization, funded by a private foundation tied to foreign interests. Children, orphans, or those with unstable families, had been subjected to controlled trauma simulations. Elena had been one of them. The briefcase was a failsafe. Someone, perhaps the man in the suit, had tried to expose it, but he never came forward. Now Elena was unraveling, sleep-deprived, paranoid, afraid to leave Maddie alone. But she also knew she couldn't stop. She leaked parts of the notebook anonymously online. She recorded her findings and stashed copies with trusted people. The pressure closed in. She was chased, cornered, threatened, but she was also seen. Former subjects began to contact her. Together they uncovered records, old footage, internal memos. Each revelation pointed to a deeper conspiracy, a hidden network protecting the research and continuing it under different names. Elena's final confrontation came in a sterile office above a law firm near Pike Place. Behind the desk sat a man she'd seen in a dream. A memory, she realized. He greeted her as Subject 9. He offered her a choice: walk away with her brother and a new identity, or push forward and risk everything. Elena chose to push. The story broke months later. It didn't make the front page, but it spread. Investigations were launched. The foundation was quietly dissolved. Elena and Maddie moved to a quiet town in Oregon. She changed her major to investigative journalism. Her brother started to laugh again. But sometimes, when the wind is just right, she hears soft indie ballads and feels like someone is watching. Because some things never really end. Not even when the second shift is over.